A boy stands on a pitch, barely taller than the other players' waists, and the crowd falls silent. They said he was too small, too fragile, too sick to ever make it. But this boy would go on to win more individual awards than any footballer in history. So, who is this man, and how did he do the impossible? Long before the world knew his name, he was just a child in love with a ball. He came from a working-class family in a city far from the global spotlight. From his earliest years, those who watched him play knew something was different. He moved with a low, swift grace that made defenders look like they were standing still. But behind the magic on the pitch, a quiet crisis was brewing. Doctors discovered he had a growth hormone deficiency. His body simply wasn't developing the way it should. The treatment was expensive, far beyond what his family could afford. Then came the call that would change everything. A powerful football club from across the ocean had heard about this tiny prodigy. The offer was extraordinary. They would pay for his medical treatment if he came to play for them. The agreement was reportedly scrawled on a napkin, a handshake deal that would reshape football history. He was barely a teenager when he crossed the ocean and arrived in a new country, far from everything he had known. He barely spoke the language, barely knew anyone, and was desperately homesick. But on the training pitch, every doubt disappeared. Coaches who had seen thousands of players stopped in their tracks the first time they saw him train. He was moved through the youth ranks at a speed that surprised everyone. By his mid-teens, he was already training with grown men twice his size. Then came the moment he had dreamed of, his debut for the senior team. He was barely 16 years old. Within minutes of coming on, he had already electrified the stadium. The whispers in football circles grew louder. Something historic was beginning. The records came quickly, almost too quickly to count. He became the youngest player in his club's history to score in a major league match. Season after season, he delivered goals, assists, moments of brilliance that left commentators speechless. One season, he scored more goals than almost any player had managed in the entire history of the sport in a single year. He won the world's most prestigious individual football award not once, but multiple times in a row. His left foot, his dominant foot, was described by fans as something almost supernatural. He had a low, compact dribble that seemed to make him invisible to defenders trying to tackle him. But for all his club success, there was one wound that refused to heal: his national team. He carried the weight of an entire nation on his back every time he pulled on his country's colors. The expectations were crushing. Every tournament, his country demanded he deliver the ultimate prize. And time after time, heartbreak followed. He reached the final of the world's biggest tournament and lost. He came agonizingly close to the Continental Championship with his national side, and lost that too. In the depths of one of those defeats, he reportedly told the world he was done, that he was retiring from international football. But he came back. He always came back. Back at his club, he continued to rewrite records at a pace that defied logic. He became the all-time leading scorer for his club, a club that had produced legends for over a century. He won league titles, continental trophies, and every honor the club game could offer. One night, he single-handedly dismantled one of the most famous clubs in the world in a knockout match, scoring twice and assisting twice. Journalists ran out of words. Fans just wept. Then came a seismic shift. The club he had called home for nearly his entire life could no longer keep him. Financial pressures beyond anyone's imagination forced a goodbye that shook the football world to its core. He wept at a press conference, and the world wept with him. A new chapter began in a glamorous new city, with a club full of stars. It was not always easy adapting, proving himself all over again in a new environment. But champions don't disappear, they evolve. And all the while, the world's greatest prize, the one that had escaped him so many times, was waiting. The greatest tournament on earth, one final chance. He had been here before and lost, but this time felt different. Game after game, he dragged his team forward, scoring, assisting, leading. In one match, he scored twice, both goals moments of sheer individual genius. Then came the final, a match that many called the greatest ever played. He scored. His side led. Then the opposition roared back and the match went to extra time, then a penalty shootout. He stepped up. The whole world held its breath. His team won. And when they placed that golden trophy in his hands, something in him finally, let go. The boy who was told he was too small had just conquered the entire world. Today, this man is spoken of in the same breath as the greatest athletes who have ever lived. He holds records that may stand for decades, perhaps forever. He was told at every stage that he was not enough, too small, too slow, too dependent on his one magic foot. And at every stage, he answered with silence and brilliance. He never sought the spotlight found him, because the game itself demanded he be seen. A boy with a broken body and an unbreakable heart, who turned the beautiful game into something even more beautiful. So, who do you think this legend is? Drop your guess in the comments below.